Not a lot of people know this, but behind every great podcast is a great podcast producer. Mm-hmm. And we have the best podcast producer anybody could ever ask for. His name is Homer. He has his quirks.
My name's Homer. I'm a podcast producer, custodialism, janitorialism, animal control. I do it all here. I love it here, man. This is the place to be, I think.
He's very good with audio and video production.
He's terrific with audio and video production.
My podcast motto is be loud, be loud, be loud. Hey! Hey! Bring the lows up, rocks up. Hey!
Homer keeps the studio clean. He really, really cares about cleanliness in the studio.
I clean. I do clean. Not myself, but mostly the studio. I think it's important to keep the studio clean because if it's not a clean environment, then how are the people ever going to be able to be themselves in? I try and get it in between, half dirty, half clean. And I encourage everyone here to do the same sort of thing.
Homer is a hands-on producer. He's always touching us with his hands.
Yeah.
I greet my podcasters at the door every day with a kiss on the cheek and a pat on the tuchus.
We think that Homer might be sleeping in the studio.
A lot of people think I sleep here in the studio, but I'm not really sleeping as much as I'm dreaming.
I don't know if he has a home. I don't know if he lives anywhere or sleeps. But there's been several times when we've come into the studio and he is asleep. There's pillows and blankets.
I mean, he smells.
He does smell like he might be digging through the trash occasionally before our podcast. But, as long as he produces a good podcast, I don't care. When you're looking for a podcast producer, you need somebody who's knowledgeable about all the topics that we're going to talk about. And so Homer is always reading the news and trying to stay on top of current events.
So he's one of those guys who likes to do his own research,
I do a lot of research. I look at, I do a lot of research, okay?
He also doesn't know how to read, so it can be difficult for him to research some of the topics.
Yeah.
They gotta have the right information or else they're gonna get hurt.
Homer likes to run a bunch of emergency drills.
Some of our recent emergencies have been a gas leak, but that was from me. We also have had a few critters loose in the studio, but they were just being themselves and, tickling the toes, nipping at their knees.
Overall, I think if you're trying to start a podcast, you definitely need a Homer in your life. You need somebody who can run the operations very, very smoothly.
Every podcast is kind of like a chicken, Everyone has a part to play, just like every little aspect of a chicken contributes to its chickenness, It's got a breast and wings, just like a podcast has microphones and strings.